If you're a millennial who keeps showing up to work, family, and responsibilities while feeling quietly exhausted, that experience is common and understandable. Many people in this age group are functioning, not flourishing, and doing so without much external recognition. The fact that you're still engaged doesn't mean you're fine. It means you're adapting. Most mornings don't start with panic. They start with routine, checking a bank balance before getting out of bed, mentally calculating how many days until the next paycheck, deciding whether today is a spend-nothing day or just a be-careful one. Then work begins. Meetings, messages, tasks. You show up, respond, and deliver. From the outside, it looks like stability. Internally, it feels like constant monitoring. The problem shows up early and quietly. Ongoing financial anxiety paired with emotional burnout. Not a crisis, not a breakdown, but a persistent state of survival mode. For many millennials, this is the default setting. The pressure isn't coming from one bad decision or a temporary setback. It's structural and sustained. Housing costs rise faster than income. Student loans linger far longer than expected. Childcare, healthcare, and insurance costs absorb what little margin exists. Even when income increases, the relief is minimal and often temporary. This kind of economic pressure changes how people think and behave. Decisions become more conservative, not because of a lack of ambition, but because the cost of failure feels too high. Career moves are delayed. Negotiations are avoided. Opportunities that require short-term instability are dismissed before they're fully considered. Stability, even when uncomfortable, feels safer than risk, even when risk might lead to growth. At the same time, energy is being drained in less visible ways. Financial stress doesn't stay contained to spreadsheets or budgets. It follows people into meetings, conversations, and downtime. It shows up as mental noise that never fully quiets. The brain stays partially occupied with tracking expenses, anticipating bills, and planning contingencies. This reduces cognitive capacity for creative thinking, long-term planning, and emotional presence. Emotionally, the experience is often described as exhaustion without collapse. You're not falling apart, but you're also not recovering. Sleep helps, but it doesn't restore. Time off exists, but it's spent catching up or worrying about what's waiting afterward. There's a constant sense of needing to be on to maintain momentum. Slowing down feels risky, even when continuing at the same pace feels unsustainable. This pressure influences daily choices in subtle but meaningful ways. Medical appointments are postponed unless something feels urgent. Preventive care becomes optional. Vacations are shorter, delayed, or mentally occupied by guilt. Social plans are weighed against budgets, energy levels, and the need to be productive. Even rest becomes conditional, something to be earned rather than a baseline need. Work becomes a central stabilizer, but also a source of strain. Jobs are held not because they're fulfilling, but because they're predictable. Performance stays high enough to avoid attention, but not always high enough to feel proud. The goal shifts from growth to maintenance. Keep the role, keep the income, avoid disruption. Over time, this narrows identity and options. Life becomes organized around endurance rather than direction. Mentally, this creates a low-grade anxiety that's easy to dismiss and hard to resolve. It's not constant fear, but constant alertness. Decision fatigue builds because every choice feels consequential. Spending, saving, speaking up, resting, changing direction, all of it carries weight. The nervous system stays activated, even during calm moments, because the underlying conditions haven't changed. It's important to name this clearly. This is not laziness, weakness, or a lack of discipline. It's a rational response to prolonged economic uncertainty. At the same time, it's not a permanent excuse to stay stuck. The danger of survival mode isn't that it fails immediately, but that it becomes familiar. When endurance is rewarded and burnout is normalized, it's easy to mistake coping for stability. What's happening for many millennials is a quiet holding pattern. Life is functional but constrained, capable but compressed. There's resilience here, but it's being used to maintain balance rather than create momentum. The tension builds not because everything is falling apart, but because nothing is opening up. This is the problem space: sustained financial pressure, emotional depletion, and a narrowing range of choices. Not dramatic, not visible, but deeply influential. Until it's named and understood, it continues to shape behavior and energy in the background, keeping people busy, tired, and quietly stuck. If the problem is sustained pressure, the response doesn't need to be dramatic. It needs to be stabilizing. The goal is not to escape responsibility or reset your entire life. The goal is to reduce unnecessary load so your energy can be used intentionally instead of defensively. That starts with clarity, not motivation. Begin by narrowing your focus to what actually keeps your system working. This includes income that covers your baseline expenses, routines that protect your health, and commitments that directly support your responsibilities. Everything else is optional, even if it doesn't feel that way. A large portion of burnout comes from carrying expectations that were never consciously chosen. When you identify which obligations are required and which are inherited from habit, guilt, or comparison, mental space opens up immediately. Money is a central pressure point, so treat it as a tool for stability, not a measure of progress or identity. You don't need a perfect budget or an aggressive plan. You need fewer decisions. Automate what you can. Consolidate accounts if complexity is draining. Choose a default spending approach that prioritizes housing, food, transportation, and health, then limits the rest without constant evaluation. The objective is not to optimize every dollar, but to reduce financial noise so your attention can return to your work and life. Career pressure benefits from the same approach. Not every season is for advancement. Some seasons are for consolidation. This doesn't mean disengaging or underperforming. It means allowing your work to be competent and reliable without requiring constant overextension. When energy is limited, consistency matters more than intensity. Protecting your role and income can be a strategic choice, not a failure of ambition. Progress is still happening, even when it's quiet. Mental load is often the most overlooked factor. Information intake, constant availability, and self-imposed urgency all consume capacity. Reducing exposure to draining inputs is a practical decision, not avoidance. Limit how often you check financial news, work messages, or social comparisons if they increase anxiety without improving outcomes. Attention is a finite resource. Where you place it determines how stable you feel. Reframing expectations is also essential. You don't need to solve everything now. You need a system that holds. This means measuring success differently. Stability is success. Predictability is success. Having enough energy to think clearly is success. When those are in place, change becomes possible without forcing it. Adaptability grows from a stable base. Once your baseline is secure, you can make small, intentional adjustments. A minor skill upgrade, a cautious financial buffer, a clearer boundary around time. These are not dramatic moves, but they compound. Each small decision that reduces strain increases your capacity for the next one. This is how momentum is built sustainably. It's also important to acknowledge agency without creating pressure. You are not powerless, but you are operating within real constraints. The work is not to ignore those constraints, but to navigate them with precision. Choosing sustainability over intensity is not settling. It's a strategic response to long-term conditions. Clarity creates calm. When you know what matters now, you stop reacting to everything else. This doesn't remove stress entirely, but it makes it manageable. You can make decisions based on current capacity rather than future fear. You can plan in increments instead of ultimatums. The outcome isn't instant relief. It's steadiness, fewer spikes of anxiety, more predictable energy, a sense that your life is aligned with reality rather than constantly pushing against it. From that place, options slowly expand. You don't need to prove resilience by suffering. You're already showing up. The next step is making sure the way you're showing up is sustainable. You're allowed to move at a pace that protects your health, your finances, and your focus. Direction comes from clarity, not urgency.